impact of untruths?
Hello and welcome. I'm Asuma Katauka and you're watching the World Report on NewsX World. Let's take a look at the top headlines of this hour. Bomb blasts at 2 polling booths in Bangladesh as Bangladesh votes in a high-stakes election following the 2024 ouster of longtime Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina. Chief of Army Staff General Waqar-uz-Zaman said, after casting his vote, "I urge all voters to go to polling centers and cast their votes without fear." Police say an 18-year-old woman killed her mother and stepbrother before opening fire at Foma School in Tumbler Ridge, British Columbia, Canada. 9 people, including the suspect who died by suicide, are dead in one of Canada's deadliest mass shootings. The motive is still unknown. The U.S. House votes 219 to 211 to reject Donald Trump's tariffs on Canadian goods, with 6 Republicans joining Democrats in a rare rebuke. The measure now moves to the Senate but faces a likely presidential veto if it reaches the White House. Russia fires drones and ballistic missiles across Ukraine overnight, targeting energy systems and injuring at least 7 people in Kyiv, Dnipro, and Odessa. Ukrainian officials say hundreds of weapons disrupt power, heating, and water as a massive attack hits buildings in the capital. President Donald Trump says talks with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu produced no definitive agreement on Iran. Netanyahu says Israel's security must be protected and signals no clear U.S. commitment to expand talks beyond Iran's nuclear program. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says Israel joins President Donald Trump's Board of Peace during talks in Washington. Images show Netanyahu signing the accession document after meeting Secretary of State Marco Rubio, confirming Israel's membership. An advisor to Iran's supreme leader says Tehran will not compromise on its missile capabilities amid ongoing talks with the United States. Ali Shamkhani calls the missile program non-negotiable during events marking the anniversary of the Islamic Revolution. Pro-Palestinian protesters rally in Melbourne on the final day of Israeli President Isaac Herzog's visit. After clashes in Sydney and demonstrations in Canberra, protests unite across the country as Prime Minister Anthony Albanese hosts the visit, following a deadly Sydney shooting. Now we start this hour with breaking news coming in from Bangladesh. Chaos has erupted across Bangladesh during the 13th National Parliamentary Election and Referendum 2026, with disturbances reported at 486 polling stations. The Emergency Coordination Cell of the Ministry of the Home Affairs has confirmed that by 2 p.m. local time, 59 fake votes were casted at 3 locations and ballot boxes were looted in several regions. The disturbances included clashes between political supporters at 135 polling stations, the eviction of polling agents from 14 locations, and multiple incidents of violence. 6 candidates were assaulted, while there were reports of 18 obstructions to voting. Additionally, 4 incidents of arson has occurred, and 33 election officials were accused of negligence. Authorities are still investigating the scale of the disruption, and it remains unclear how these disturbances will be affecting the overall election results. Now we move on, but we stay in Bangladesh. Even as irregularities take place, Bangladeshis are showing optimism. Bangladeshis are turning out in large numbers for what many are calling a landmark national election. Long lines have formed outside of polling stations across the country with tight security in place to ensure a peaceful vote. Election officials have reported steady turnout in major cities, including the capital Dhaka. Key issues in the campaign have included inflation, job creation, and government's accountability. Young voters say they are looking for transparency and economic opportunity, while analysts say the outcome could shape the country's political direction for years to come. Authorities say ballot counting will be beginning after polls close as the nation wants to see who will lead Bangladesh into its next chapter. Now let's listen into what the voters have shared.
First time experience, of course, it would be really great, and it was fun actually. I mean, as a first time, I always heard about that. Like my father always voted, and I heard about, and this is the first time I gave vote. So 17 years there was only one government. I want something different, like someone who will make this country more developed in front of the whole world. Somewhere more that will have morality and some leadership qualities that will not harm the people, and they will think about the poor people and their distress.
Very good, alhamdulillah, very good, very good. I think Bangladeshe আমি ভাবিনি এই দিন দেখব আরেকবার। যতদিন আওয়ামী লীগ ছিল, যখন মানুষ বলতো যে দেশকে এভাবেই চলবে কিনা, তখন আমরা সবাই ভাবতাম যে আর কি অপশন, এভাবেই চলবে, কারণ আশেপাশে তো কোনো রকমের চেঞ্জ, কোনো স্কোপ ছিল না। সো হ্যাঁ, অফকোর্স ভেরি লাকি যে এই দিন আসছে। 2008 তারপর আর ভোট দিই, 2008-এ ভোট দিয়েছি, 2001-এও দিয়েছি।
Now we move on to Taiwan. Taiwan's President Lai Ching-te has firmly stated that Taiwan will never be a bargaining chip in U.S.-China trade talks. He has expressed confidence that Taiwan's parliament will approve a $40 billion budget for critical defense purchases, including weapons from the United States. On the U.S.-Taiwan relationship, Lai has reaffirmed that the commitment under the Taiwan Relations Act and 6 assurances remains rock solid and will not change. Let's listen in.
中美贸易的竞争当中，中国有求于美国的多，美国有求于中国的少。美国没有必要把台湾当作筹码来跟中国进行对谈。我们认为，川普总统正在进行一场艰巨的和平工程。短期内要兼顾美国的利益，也要阻止中国对外扩张。美国基于台湾关系法以及美国对台6项保证、对台承诺，台美关系坚若磐石，不会改变。
Now, Lai has emphasized Taiwan's resolve to maintain strong defense capabilities, ensuring China never sees a good day to invade the island. Has highlighted the importance of Taiwan's preparedness and its partnerships in building credible deterrence. Let's listen in.
中国有200万解放军，有40个上将，就现在在职的只有2位，这个情况的确不寻常。
Regarding Taiwan's semiconductor industry, Lai has reassured that its strategic role in the global supply chain remains vital, with continued focus on research, development, and production capacity. Let's listen into what he has shared.
台湾的半导体产业，只要研发中心、最先进制程，还有最大的生产量都在台湾的话，台湾就可以持续维持半导体全球供应链不可或缺的战略地位。
Taiwan's President Lai Ching-te has firmly stated that Taiwan will never be a bargaining chip in U.S.-China trade talks. He has expressed confidence that Taiwan's parliament will be approving a $40 billion budget for critical defense purchases, including weapons from the United States. On the U.S.-Taiwan relationship, Lai has reaffirmed that the commitment under the Taiwan Relations Act and 6 assurances remains rock solid and will not change. While Lai has also emphasized Taiwan's resolve to maintain strong defense capabilities, ensuring China never sees a good day to invade the island. Now we move on to U.S.-Russia. The United States may lift sanctions on Russian oil once the war in Ukraine ends, while U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent has said, tying it to broader geopolitical shifts that could ease global energy prices. Speaking ahead of ongoing peace negotiations, Besant has told U.S. media that a formal peace agreement between Russia and Ukraine could unlock large quantities of crude currently barred from international markets, helping to push down oil costs. He has also cited stabilization in Venezuela and normalization of the situation around Iran as key factors that could bring more sanctioned oil back into global supply, further easing price pressures. While analysts say the potential removal of oil sanctions hinges on a durable resolution to the Ukraine conflict and broader diplomatic progress on Venezuela and Iran, as the Treasury continues to use its sanctions regime to influence geopolitical outcomes. Now, for this, we welcome Mr. Glenn Grant. He's an ex-advisor to Defense Minister of Ukraine and geopolitical commentator, joins us live from Riga. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Glenn, for joining us. Good to see you. Now, looking at this, is the strategy of U.S. changing or easing towards Russia now? What are we to make of this statement coming in, the timing given, about also noting that Iran is in the picture?
It's very good. It's very good questions. I mean, I feel as though the Americans are making up their strategy as they go along, and that as they sort of like, pressing with a finger to see what happens, and then if nothing happens, then they change it and press somewhere else. And I think we've seen this, that there have been 2 or 3 things in the last week or so which have been very much against Russia. But then when you actually look at them, you have to ask yourself, are they doing this because it's for US and they want money? Or are they doing it against Russia? And my gut instinct says they're doing it because it's pro-US money and money for Trump and money for his friends, not because it's against Russia. But I think that we will see their activities keep changing as they find that some of the things that they want to do, especially with Ukraine, just aren't going to work.
And Glenn, how do you see, so if Russia or US is moving, building on your answer, this pro-US money, or for Trump is probably US's motive here, or Trump administration's motive. Maybe Trump is pushing this agenda. So how doesn't US have enough access to oil, given that they have taken Maduro out on January?
It's very interesting. I mean, Trump has basically told Venezuela that everything now, all the money of oil from Venezuela is now American and to be run by the USA. I mean, it's actually told them this, which is very strange indeed, because Venezuela actually has responsibilities towards Russia. And they've taken Maduro out, but hey, we haven't heard anything about this in the last couple of weeks. And one has suspicions that as well, that Maduro was actually in the Epstein files. And if he is, then there's another level of complexity there that we hadn't even thought of in the first place. So there's wheels within wheels with all this at the moment. And so much of Trump's motivation is based upon keeping the Epstein file problem down and stopping it overwhelming him and his government. But it is so. It is overwhelming them. So I see Trump lashing out and doing more strange things in the coming weeks than he's done before.
Yes, indeed it is. We will be eyeing that. Thank you very much, Mr. Grant, for sharing that. Please stay with us as we come back to you. Now, moving on, NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte has emphasized the ongoing long-term threat posed by Russia and warned against underestimating China's growing influence. Speaking on the situation in the Arctic, Rutte has highlighted that the region is not only a concern due to Russia, but also China's increasing involvement. He has pointed out that the opening of sea lanes in the Arctic presents new challenges. While Rutte has also stressed that the importance of defending the region and coordinating various initiatives to address these emerging threats, He urged NATO to identify existing gaps in defense and work to fill them moving forward. Now we welcome back Mr. Grant. He's joining us live from Riga. Thank you very much, Mr. Grant, for staying with us.
Yeah, thank you.
Now, looking at NATO's general statements, he has, of course, he has always emphasized the threat that Russia is or China has. But interestingly, he has also stressed the importance of defending the region, coordinating with various regions, and also to address these emerging threats and identify the existing gaps. So what are the priority for him exactly, and what are the gaps?
Well, I mean, in the first place, I think that what he's doing is showing that he's completely not out of touch, but unable to do anything about the Russia problem as it is with Ukraine. And because that's the number one priority. That should be the number 1, 2, 3, 4 priority, is to deal with Russia. But what he appears to be doing, because he can't manage that, and he's shown himself to be weak, what he is doing is looking for other things to do, to talk about. I mean, there is no threat to the Arctic at the moment from Russia and China. There may be in the future, but there certainly isn't at the moment, because neither of them are capable of doing much at the moment. You asked what the capability gaps are. Well, I mean, America, I think, has only got two icebreakers compared to a lot of icebreakers in Russia. So there is a weakness there, because if you have a bad winter like this one, you badly need icebreakers if you want to do anything, and that's going to take them time to deliver. But at the same time, I can see that the Russian icebreakers will not be maintained because they haven't got money to maintain them. So actually, the balance will reduce to the benefit of America against Russia. I think we've got time in the Arctic to worry about China. And I go back to what I said. Rutte should be worrying about Russia now in Ukraine and not anything else.
Right. Do you think that him highlighting or saying these things about, Arctic, do you think is it because he feels sidelined or he feels the West's limits about Ukraine and Russia's situation now?
Well, I mean, let's be blunt. He is sidelined in the same way that the EU has been sidelined, and they've been sidelined because of Trump's bombastic attitude in all sorts of things. And Rutte is actually all the time trying to grease himself up with Trump and get in close and say good things and say we need Trump and we need America and things like this, which may be true, but the way he says it shows that he's a bit player. He's not actually a leader in this activity. So it's a worry, because actually the world needs NATO to be strong, and it needs a strong NATO Secretary General, not someone who's going around just making public relations activities. He's obviously not strong enough to leverage what the other countries can do, and they see him as an extra. They don't see him as a sort of an all-powerful coordinator, because he isn't.
Yes. Thank you for highlighting that, Mr. Glenn. Please stay with us as we come back to you. Now we stay on this. NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte has stated that the U.S. is putting every pressure on Russia to end its war with Ukraine. Rutte has praised U.S. efforts, citing sanctions on Russian oil companies and military support via the prioritized Ukraine's requirement list. Let's listen in.
Is putting every pressure on Russia, as the Europeans are doing, through the sanction packages. Look what has been happening with Lukoil and Rosneft and all the other stuff the US is doing. The US is still delivering crucial air defense and other lethal weapons into Ukraine through this Pearl program, so paid for by Canadian, European allies and partners. And the US is leading the peace effort. And there is only one country, the most powerful nation on earth, the US, which can do that under the leadership of President Trump, breaking the deadlock with Putin, getting the peace process going. So I really think the US is doing exactly what we need when it comes to Ukraine.
Addressing concerns over U.S. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth's absence, Rutte has explained that Washington must balance its NATO commitments with its priorities in the Western Hemisphere and Indo-Pacific. The meeting also saw the launch of NATO's new Arctic mission aimed at strengthening its presence in the region amidst rising tensions within the alliance, partly stemming from U.S. President Donald Trump's push to acquire Greenland. British Defence Minister John Healey has confirmed that the UK would play a central role in the mission named Arctic Sentry. Additionally, Sweden's Defence Minister Pal Johnson has announced a third package of Pearl weapons purchases, while German Defence Minister Boris Pistorius has emphasized the need for Europe to take greater responsibility in maintaining the alliance's transatlantic nature. Now we move on to the U.S. The U.S. House of Representatives has passed the Save America Act requiring proof of citizenship for voter registration. The bill, supported by President Donald Trump, aims to prevent non-citizens from voting in federal elections. However, it has sparked controversy, with critics arguing that it could disenfranchise millions, particularly minorities and low-income voters. The bill mandates both proof of citizenship and a government-issued ID to vote. With over 21 million Americans lacking these documents, opponents warn of barriers to voting. The bill now heads to the Senate, where it faces a tough battle. However, if passed, the bill could significantly impact voter turnout in the coming midterms. Now we move on to Ukraine. Ukrainian skeleton racer Vladislav Heraskevich was disqualified from the Milano Cortina Winter Games for wearing a helmet that depicted Ukrainian athletes killed in the war with Russia. The International Olympic Committee has confirmed the decision after a meeting with IOC President Christy Coventry earlier that morning. Coventry has expressed regret over the situation. She has explained that while the IOC supported the message, it was difficult to find a solution for displaying the helmet during the race. Heraskevich's team has announced plans to appeal the decision at the Court of Arbitration for Sports. The IOC had offered the athlete the opportunity to display the helmet before and after the race, alongside wearing a black armband while competing. Despite the IOC's efforts, Heraskevich confirmed that he would not race. Now we move on to our next news. We have a breaking news coming in. Brazilian President Lula da Silva will be visiting Delhi from February 18 to 22nd of this year to attend the AI Summit and conduct a state visit. During his visit, Lula will hold bilateral talks with Indian officials on February 21st. The president will be accompanied by a delegation of ministers as part of the official visit. The two countries are expected to discuss various aspects of bilateral cooperation, including trade, technology, and international relations. The visit marks a significant step in strengthening the ties between Brazil and India in multiple sectors. The AI Summit is expected to be a major highlight, where leaders and experts will discuss the future of artificial intelligence and its global impact. That's all we have time for. Keep watching NewsX World for more news and updates from around the world.